Everybody's Patrick from the pitch deck. We have Armory Night for you guys. Another one. I've been trying to get some more Armory Night for you guys, but this one actually was a little bit better to record than the first two because I have so much viserai. The first two were viserai. I beat those 2-0 both matches. They had brought AB2 for those, no belittle. So this is going to be Dash starting out with a induction chamber, and that's what he was doing. Kai was trying to find it, and he had already reshuffled, so he forgot about the item start. You can't really tell off the rip of what they're going to choose for what type of deck they are. You can only just go from the first few turns and then adjust your plans accordingly, but I was under the impression that it was tempo the entire time. So I think the better play that whenever I found out later on, I think towards the end of the game it was more fatigue than normal aggro dash. And the setup is basically you're trying to set up faster than the dash can. You set up your hexes, your insidious chills, just like if you were playing Bravo or whatnot. But yeah, I chose to go first as I won the die roll. He has AB4. This is our third match that we've played before. We're both 1-1 to each other, so we've played before, and this is our like sort of tiebreaker type thing. I won the second game. He won the first game within like separate armories. He went tempo last time. That's why I'm kind of like in the tempo game this time. As in like he wanted to do Teclo Pounder aggro. And here I think I just give him a frostbite just to start this out. There's not much that I would want this to do, and then I think it was a hypothermia and arsenal. Which this is one of the cards that can get around hypothermia if it really impacts the board. Basically they keep boosting, but they don't get to go again. They just stay at one action point.
And then you have an arsenal card. Correct. Shockwave for 4, 3, so 7. And if it hits, I get 3 tokens. I'm going to
Hey John, what's up? Did you reset the timer? Yeah. No, I didn't. Okay. I was like, holy shit! That was the longest 2 turns ever!
13 minutes left, let's go!
Go, go, go!
Blitz!
After the other night, drawing with a Dromai, I don't know.
Yeah, load pistol. That's fine.
I already have it.
Load chamber?
Yep. Go again. Two.
No boost.
I say we're here just full throttle basically, or just red throttle I should say. No boost.
3 tokens.
Which is he was probably just trying to get a card out of this.
I'm going to chew for 2 and 2, popping the 3. So 3 chance, and then 2 and 2. I was thinking like, huh, 29?
There are 3 reactions. I'm losing.
I did a sync here, which I shouldn't have done a sync because I think I draw into another sync. I just kept it. It was 2 blues. Which is fine because I can just peek anyways and just hold up the defense react.
Old Faithful. Alright. 2. Just 1.
Okay.
Oh, just 1 in hand and then... 1 in hand and then this will be 1. I don't know if you meant 2. Pay.
Oh, that, yeah, I got you.
Let's see what you were saying. 2... Yeah, I can't moon off of the thing, so this would be a can't. It's not an action card, so this is a reaction card.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. I didn't know it was action card. I thought it was I'll do.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I was supposed to
do
come
pay.
at this thing. I totally forgot. Take the one.
Back to you.
And I think the first 2 turns would have been a key to like understand. Well, not the last turn wasn't a key turning point to think that it could be fatigue dash. Because it was a weird turn to really judge it off that.
Grab this rebel.
I think
Grab this rebel. Coming at you for
it's
4.
either this turn or next turn he'll do Spark of Genius.
Is this an
Yeah, this
option?
turn he'll do Spark of Genius for the Purifier.
That's fine.
And then I'm still sitting on the Hypothermia in my turn, or in my arsenal. And I'm just not sure if I should play it on my turn or not. You could do that, but they may just do something like this. And if I were to play it last time, or on my turn, and then just
Got you. Okay.
reload the arsenal with that last previous blue, which I thought was a cold snap, he could have just done this and it's just wasted at that point. It's much more impactful whenever they try to banish a card or they use a counter. Banish a card is more impactful because they just lose a card, and as an additional cost, you still get that prevention.
If it hits, is referring to the hero, right? Or does it have to say if it hits the hero?
No, it's always hitting the hero.
Okay. But if I attack this thing,
This will be
So this hand was a little weird. I had drawn 3 reds and I had a tunic counter up, and there was the argument to just put this Frostex down. Nothing's been going on. Really slow start. I should have taken this route, and I think I had 2 sinks or sink and sigil or something like that. I can't remember, but it was definitely the weirdest hand for pitch wise, because it was just awkward if I were to play
attack this thing for 3 and 2
the sigil, or I should say the Frostex out. I could have played it for free and get some early chip in. I think that would have been probably just a better play, but I wanted to do more tempo like I was saying and more damage at that point.
sink below and 1 left.
However, 2 items in, I should have already taken that as the step to put the Frostex in. So that might have been the mistake. And that might have been a better play long term. My 3rd turn into this, seeing the Frostex, so you don't ever know when the other ones, the other Frostex will show up.
So it's 1 less for you.
And this is another awkward hand. It's 2 absorbs, Oasis, and a sink. It just feels so bad having this hypothermia and such a defensive hand, because if you hypothermia, you are just going to not have much to do on your turn. Here, I still deploy it because I want to get something out of my arsenal. I want to have a better arsenal and not just hold it forever. I sink to try to get a better card. I toss one of the absorbs underneath, so that way I can potentially pull out a better ice card, play this hypothermia now, refill it with that ice card, which I think it was a cold snap or ether hail. Which means my tunic counter will be up for either one.
I'll just pass it.
It's still low impact on my turn. I stop his turn with me doing nothing at that point. Here I'm thinking I'm just going to use my tunic counter for the Oasis, or pitch the Oasis and this for the Waning Moon. He'll take 2 damage or just use the card, which at this point I'm not sure if the card's going to do anything.
No, that was the thing there, so no float, no float.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, he'll just pitch for 1. Take 1 damage, I should say. I could have kept the Oasis in Arsenal for the next turn, but I'm peeking with this and putting the better blue into the Arsenal, so. Also, Oasis works on the pistol just like if you were to use it on Rosetta Thorn. Prevents all 4 damage, but the next 4 damage from the pistol means 2 shots at that point. If it is pumped by Purifier, it's only going to be the first 3 damage from the first shot, and then it's going to prevent 1 damage from that other one. And then the second shot will just come in for 2 damage. I should have been playing the long game, especially into AB4.
We can put random numbers on there because they can only hold 1 anyway.
2 cards in hand.
The reason I'm waiting for this cold snap, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what's in there.
That's fine.
I want to make him use 1 more resource. And it's a little bit weird because I've got Erase Face, Freezing Point, and 2 blues. 2 ice blues. So it's like, what do I do on my turn? Do I take the damage?
Paying 1 resource to activate my Bloodspill Invocation aura. When I hit you, I get 3 tokens. When you hit me, I get destroying. And I'm coming at you for 4, 5, 6. I'm coming at you for 6, and if I hit, I get 3.
I'll play this now. Paying here. Choose and I draw afterwards.
I ditched Freezing Point so that way I could
Okay. You can start
get a better situation of what I'm going to look on my hand. I've got 2 blues and the Erase Face, and I wanted to draw into something else, which would not be too bad of a thing. However, I believe it was Sigil of Permafrost Red. And this is where it could that card could have helped out a lot better with a hex in play. It would have felt a lot better.
Oh wait, so load pistol will be for 1 since you or did you you shot and then brought up? No, it's fine. Yeah, the load pistol's fine.
Knowing when to attack your opponent, especially if it's a fatigue pistol build, is key because you don't know when to use disruption. So you got to learn when to actually apply it to force them to do to pitch another card that they could have used against you. As in, like, maybe Winter's Bite. They're going to load something with their last resource. You can have them pitch 1 card for the resource cost, and then the Frostbite.
Pistol for 2. 3, 2. Or 3, sorry. Yeah,
And here I think I took both pistol shots.
Pass turn.
And it's just ending from that point.
Yeah, you're fine. The cold snaps can resolve. Start of my turn.
Moving Sky, go again, pump for I get 3 tokens.
Pitching City still for race face on
Field
float.
Blade for 4 and 1, but popping 3, so 4 and 4. Go again.
Race Face is the most detrimental attack action that you can use against Ash, because it just stops all go again at that point from boosting. And also it helps against their items as well, so that forces them to block out.
I can't do anything with Moon because it's not an attack, so it's fine. We'll do that, and then we'll just put this here.
And here, this one's an awkward hand too. It's double sigil with Channel Lake and a blue Ether Hail.
Okay.
And I think
Yeah, that's fine.
Go again.
the...
I'm going to.
No, I can't be for sure. I can't, like, I'm not sure when I put a red bolt in my arsenal, and I can't remember if it's right now or not.
Can you? Is that in your arsenal? Is that your I think so. What if the other one too? It creates a token when one of those are destroyed. That's okay. And then, yeah, let's do that one. Yeah.
Now this one's going to be just another hypothermia.
One for destroying. Create one.
I need to get these cards out of my hand sometimes.
These double sigils would have been felt a lot better with that frost hex that I could have played in the earlier stages. Because I had the hypothermia, I could have just pitched all 3 reds for the frost hex and then called it a day at that point. Try to find another frost hex. You want at least 1 frost hex, but I wasn't in that mentality during this game.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to have 3 tokens. I did have 3 tokens. I just took it away now.
And I should know how dash operates. That was the very first hero that I started playing whenever I got into Flesh and Blood.
Did you pass back to me? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're good.
And again, hypothermia and Arsenal stopping their turn. Not much that I can really do whenever it comes to curving the tempo in my favor. I overpitch because there's another sigil in hand. I want to get this sigil out with a Channel Lake Frigid.
That'll be it.
Ruby Sky's yellow. Pitching red. Stinging Steel Blade for 4 and 1, so 4 and 4 again.
I'm good to go. And then that one's on top. Load pistol, float 2.
I'm starting to see more loads, so that should be another indication that this should go into the longer game.
Thing there will be this.
However, this is a Channel Lake Frigid, another card against dash that's really detrimental. So you should be able to have something in your hand to capitalize off of it. These are a lot better turns whenever I had the Channel Lake Frigid. That I was able to do something with it.
Actually, to be exact, what do I do my turn?
I believe it was a red Ether Ice thing.
Comment this guy for 2 and 4 arcane.
Sigil plus. Oh, you know what? Let's do it this in the right direction. Tunic first.
Yeah, just make sure I gotta do it the correct order. That way it's
We'll just say that.
feels better. I mean, you're supposed to do the tunic first.
And then your pistol.
2 physical damage, right?
3 crystals.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay. Alright, passing. Prioritize.
T-bone from Arsenal.
I often do this where I don't look at my hand. I look at what my opponent's doing. I already know what's in my hand. I already know the play line. Very, very simple until
The thing doesn't even trigger.
red Ether Ice Vein. Here he's just basically not doing the boost because it's just a T-bone 1 damage. And I take it.
That was the most depressing.
Because I forget that it's not automatic. You have to boost off of it.
I thought you were gonna hit me with something. I was like, oh no. And I'll move to Arsenal now.
I'm guessing he had better plays later on, so...
Left over from that. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Sorry, not saying that.
Well, what the semblance is, and we're gonna sell them for $5 each.
Here I don't want the Blizzard in Arsenal. Even though it's a 2 cost and I had just used the Tunic, which kind of blows back-to-back 2 costs in Arsenal. That was a reason why I took it off and or took out Blue Ice Bolt, but towards the end it's really nice. And I had already seen a red Ice Bolt, and I had used it with that early Frost X. So now I'm using my Red Ether Ice Vein So I'm starting to use a lot of good cards towards the beginning. So I need to make sure I have some cards to close out this match. I started realizing that a little bit. Like I need to... How am I able to close this out? I think it's usually in my mind that I took out one freezing point, one ice eternal. So those are 2 ending combos that I could use. Then again, I don't have the frost hexes out. It's not a game plan.
Flicker with coming at you for 1 arcane go again.
I think that's my mistake. And this is what makes me even more confused about what this deck really is going to be. It's a Teclo Pounder, so what is it? Fatigue? Is it mid-range? From the looks of it, I would say just straight up mid-range, because at this point, you've got a mixture of everything on the field. And again, I run into another Ether Ice Vein. So if this is going to go longer, how am I supposed to do it? And I pitched this Frost Hex for this Ether Ice Vein. That's another thing I could have played on my turn to gain a little bit of board state in a sense for Frost Hex towards the late game, but I wasn't thinking that. I can't remember what's in Arsenal though. Oh, it was the blue Ice Bolt, I believe. Yeah, having the 2 in there is weird. 2 cost.
Oh, frost hex counts as ice. Shoot. Right? Yep. What do you fuse it with again? Sorry.
That was a blue ice bolt.
But yeah, last match was a few Armories ago, a couple weeks ago. He played Dash against me that time, and it was AB3 with Goliath gauntlets, and that was a little bit different than this one because I thought it was more aggressive than this. So I pitched another blue Ice Bolt into this, make sure to get some more damage. Hasn't pitched anything. Might as well grab some damage while I'm at it. That's the typical game. That's basically what I'm trying to do. He wants the cards to be able to get off of the Teclo Pounder. He wants to be able to set up his items. So I'm trying to punish that as much as I can. However, I think the argument could have been made that the Frost Hex wasn't the greatest for this particular turn, but the very first turn, it was definitely a wide open hex for free. And I had the Hypo in Arsenal. So, I think the play would have been just this without fusing it or without playing it, but it's basically just do damage, and at that point you're just using the blue Ice Bolt and then hold on to that Frost Hex last turn. This is just for 6.
I guess I'm gonna Arsenal. Arsenal. Yeah. Draw. Okay. Right. Because like I knew there was something wrong by just
Let's do no defense. Move into reactions.
No reacts.
Block.
Because they know it's there.
This. And we have no floating.
I'm gonna take the 5.
Pitch the red Ice Bolt.
No, this is active. We'll say this is for 5.
So I would have been able to block.
I'll say take 5.
I really do like the feel of Absorb. It's starting to feel a lot better in testing. So definitely something to consider. Even though it's blue, a lot of people do double blue sigil. I should say double sigil for blue and red instead of just red. Or I should say instead of just blue and red, I do only red sigil permafrost and then blue absorb. So I'm starting to test that out a lot more, and I'm starting to like it as well. A frosting will be basically a free 3 damage combined with a sigil, and that does come up a lot. You do sigil plus absorb to cover 6, and then you still have 1 left over. And you could have tunic up for a moon plus a frosting, which is 6 damage at that point. If you have a frost X, another 3 damage from either one of those.
You said for 3, right?
And we see our 3rd frost X, but yet I don't hit shit, I block with it. Or maybe turn 6 or 7 for my turn. That I'm seeing it. I should say at the end of my turn, turn 6 or 7. Because I have action count for the game, but definitely midway for sure to seeing it.
It doesn't matter so long as you can attack with these things.
But this is actually pretty good justified if I did play the first one and then not Ether Ice Vein on the second one by pitching it instead of playing it. This is more justified to doing a block here. AB4 is a little rough, but you can still go through with a good combo chip burst damage, I guess. Here a block with the erase face. I didn't feel good about it, but my hand is a little bit better than just that. And then he forgets the... We both forget the Teclo Pounder, and then he realizes it, and it doesn't really matter which attack that I didn't block on or whatever. I still take 2 damage either way, so at that point, now he realizes it, and we just basically retake the 2 damage, yeah.
I don't think it really matters, like the thing, so it just says,
I forgot was forgetting that last name too.
Attack on a turn. Too late in the round.
Pistol for 3.
I didn't put the life total close enough. But it does seem like 15 to 22 here. And I think this is when I did the red Ice Bolt, and that's why I'm taking all this damage. I want to be able to cast it on, or play it on my turn, and then be able to...
the pistol earlier.
Arsenal the next card. He just arsenals, and that's what I was hoping that he would do, and I'm in the bleeding a little bit here. It's 10-point life deficit, 12 to 22 if I'm not mistaken.
I seriously think I would have if I didn't have a turn I couldn't attack on.
He had been maintaining things for a while.
And I think this is my second Ice Bolt. 2 Ice Bolts down, 2 Ether Ice Veins down, 1 blue Ice Bolt down. I still have a couple freezing points, but that's just raw damage at that point, which is fine, but it's not going to combo because I have no hexes. And those 2 hexes, or the 2 sigil permafrosts, were down in the middle deck now, probably at this point.
High octane. Saddest high octane.
Yeah, 1 second.
I believe I have a cold snap in Arsenal, but I can't remember.
I think that is.
Did you win 2 or just 1? Just 1, yeah, me too.
And when I do play Blitz,
I also drove all the way here to play against Cobra.
Do this now. 2 arcane 2.
I'll take 2.
Your arcane. This will be fine.
Oh, it was an ether hell.
that's how it is. I feel like with Ryan, right? I mentioned his name's James, right?
And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to be able to see what he could potentially pitch, and he pitched a red into this. So I wanted to, like, the way he was acting, his hand was bad, or that he didn't have enough pitch for it. Later he pitches a blue. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe this frostbite can turn the tide, and he would be drawing into a blue potentially off of this high octane, but I'm gonna take the chance now, so I did it. And it makes me a little bit happier because of the life totals are now a little bit more closer.
Yeah. And I feel like Kano's kind of the same way. It seems like you can get
0 to 60.
that one big turn.
Boost, tick down.
There's a red 0 for 60 coming in for 6 off the Teklo Pounder.
Did I pay? I didn't pay, did I? There we go.
Yeah, he forgot he was going to pay for the frostbite. And there's the blue, so maybe he did draw into the blue, and I wasn't sure.
The time I don't mind Blitz too much is in like the silver draft. I really like a constructed Blitz format. It's a little too fast for my taste. I like slower endings. It seems like it, yeah. At least that's the impression I've gotten. That might not even be that bad, but that's just kind of what it seems like.
Some type of Arctic incarceration with some bolt. I think a blue bolt. I think I double check my reds because he's checking his graveyard. I might as well do it while I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking how I'm going to close out this game if I'm going to be greedy and take damage and then poke back with a very smaller stick than what he's got. As well as defensive as well.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
I like that it's because I feel like it has a place, like you said, to help new people learn different ones. It's just,
I already played the Ether Hail from Arsenal. I'm thinking I can just give up a little bit of armor here. Use both. I'm not sure if that was the correct decision during this.
This will be 4. That's my defense. You have 2 floating. And we'll say this, and then the damage will go through. I'm taking 2 from that.
I'm just taking the 2 here.
Yeah, it's taking that result.
And he is getting the second AP. Which could matter if he just pumps the shot and just keeps shooting the pistol, conserving resources. I can't remember how many resources he has, and that's why I'm trying to decide if I want to win a waning moon here for not, or if it's like the best time to do so, because damage is just damage, but at this point it doesn't really affect him. He's just trying to race me at this point.
Load purifier flip.
Waning Moon for 3.
Okay, so he did go down to 1 counter, and that's why I was waiting, because if he wants to AB more, he can pay for it by another card, but he doesn't.
one card in here?
I have a freezing point with 2 blues. I think one of them is an ice or both are ice, and that's why I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I can pop my thing here.
Yeah.
And again, I've already used a couple of the hard hitters. There's a freezing point that could go down when I need it.
Three, right? Ice ball for 3.
I'm not sure what color this one was. It could be red.
Pain to heart.
So you're gonna do
No floating. Pain
no
1 red
floating.
to heart.
Gotcha.
So heart's on the chain. If we're just because we're thinking about it, I'm just gonna put it on the chain so we remember what's going on. It's easier for me.
Yeah.
So it gains 2 resources off this and closes the chain.
Put this there, and then we'll just clean up.
Just to clean up the board state a little bit.
Yeah, this isn't gonna have any more effects, so technically it's on turn, but it's not gonna matter. So. Load pistol.
Oh, floating 1.
Good.
Yeah.
Shoot pistol for 3.
Say.
And that's my action point.
It's gone, you mean?
Well, with
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Take 3 to 12 or 7.
Induction chamber.
Yeah.
This one's coming in for 3, and he wants to reshoot it. And to me, I'm not really caring about the entire 4 to 12 life total difference. Even if it means that this gives up my my freezing point. I hate it a little bit, but I do have the cold snap, which is okay because he freezes a card, which probably isn't a great card if you're just going to arsenal a card. And here, just arsenal, which feels bad. But I still have my tunic. I still have my boots, if need be, if I draw into a better finisher or whatnot. But again, I don't have any real items or chills, like amulets or chills. So a freezing point, I just bend out of 2 of them being in the deck. Chances are you're not really going to see the other one. But I gotta survive. I didn't like the feel of 4 to 12 like I was mentioning before. And I did draw over to an oasis.
0 to 60.
Yeah, you can go ahead and alternative cost before I decide.
And this will crack.
Another 0 to 60 red to 6.
It's off the table, so I'm gonna put the dice on so we don't forget. Because I'm gonna forget.
Insidious shield for this to float. I'll draw after you pay or no pay.
It was insane setup early game. And those and the turn that you had
Alright, you can turn it sideways. Yeah, you can turn it.
This is right.
Yeah.
I thought it was
And then I'm gonna draw a card off that.
because I was like, I have to block with deck low. This is why I save it. Sometimes with this deck, I feel like I also over block with my equipment at times when all I need to do is block the things that actually attack. Like while saving life is good, I'm saving life all over the place.
Wait, is part of done there? Tonight already released? I see cards done.
Here I'm oasis. I'm doing the Oasis Respite because it's a good bit of damage just off of 0 cost.
Gain 1.
And he still has 3 cards in hand plus the Frozen Arsenal at this point, but like I mentioned before, if there is a Purifier into the field, it's going to make the Oasis off of the pistol a little bit less impactful because it's going to just only do a couple, just 1 point off of 1 point of damage off the second shot instead of full 2 shots from no buff. And this is just a I think I completely forgot about the boots being able to pop. He doesn't have go again, but in my mind I completely forget about it. And I think that I do have a
2 cards.
I have a Hypothermia and an Isoternal in hand. I could have popped the boots
I do have 2 floating. Yep.
and paid into it a little bit, but I think he still has
Yeah, 1 on cold.
1 blue in hand,
And then this here. Yep.
which could have saved me, but then I can't finish out the entire match with no boots and no arsenal.
I'll take the one.
Unless I just did X equals 1,
3.
and then
Well, if it's dominate, I can only block 3 and take 3.
here I take 3. And at this point I'm thinking he should be okay, and then I completely forget about it and I have the Hypothermia in my hand. And I was going to just be able to stop his turn next turn. And then potentially moon with some more damage. Already mooned, and I can't really do anything. Unless I'm mooning now, but I think I've already mooned, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he said it's already been used, so. Yeah, it's just a blue in hand. If he has a blue, then I'm just dead.
Difference here.
Because he can just load up and shoot for 3 times. Actually, it could be just 2 and 2. I could have survived a little bit, but it could have been down to 1. But I would have to use my tunic. If it's like a 2-shot, the Hypothermia, because it'd be exact, and I would have to definitely block.
Yeah, I'm just dead. Yeah, I've got it.
Yep, that's just GG's. Thanks for watching, guys. That was my commentary for this one. Definitely need to practice just a little bit more, but matchup is about 50-50, really, at that point.
Send out my frost.
Yeah, she can be kind of scary, but I think the setup wasn't there, and that's what I missed out on.
I judged 2.
Thanks for watching.